Today, I'm going to be talking to you about one of the most underrated anime that I've ever seen. Well, it only lasts 11 total episodes. Those 11 episodes do an amazing job at building a rich, complex world with an even more loaded cast of characters. The anime that I'm talking about is called Terror in Resonance. It was released back in mid to late 2014, and while popular at the time of its debut, over time it has faded from public memory. I was recommended this anime by TikTok, and once I saw that it was only 11 episodes, I just had to give it a shot. It wasn't like I was dedicating months of my life to a show, and so I went over to Crunchyroll and started watching it. That was 2 days ago, and I ran through the entire thing in no time at all. This show has such an amazing mix of high-octane action scenes mixed with deep monologues from one of the best detective characters I've ever seen, and let me tell you, Terror in Resonance keeps you on your toes at all times. The premise of the show is that there are two teenage boys, one named 9 and the other one 12. They make up a terrorist organization named Sphinx, but it's not just any old terrorist organization. They don't want to harm anyone, but rather their focus is on bringing attention to what happened to them when they were kidnapped. I don't want to spoil too much, but their motives are exceptionally interesting, along with their morals around harming anyone with their terrorist attacks, sometimes going so far out of their way to not hurt anyone to ask the police for help. This show has so many layers to everything that it does, and I think that we should start with the characters to get a grasp as to what makes it such a special show. Starting off with 12, he's an exceptionally intelligent, upbeat kid who is half of the terrorist organization known as Sphinx. He's definitely the more outgoing of the group of two, and that makes him able to make friends, and he makes one particular friend and a girl named Lisa, but we'll get to her in a minute. 12 is certainly more of the comic relief character of this show. Moving on to 9, he's the other half of the terrorist organization that is known as Sphinx, and he's easily the more intelligent of the two of them, as in the show it's shown that he's able to hack into police CCTV cameras, among other things. He's also the one that rigs the bombs that the boys use and has much more of a cold and calculated demeanor than 12 does. He seems to take everything super seriously, whereas 12 is definitely, again, more of the comic relief character. Moving on to Lisa, she's a quiet, shy girl who is shown to get bullied by other girls at her school early on in the show. While Lisa's character certainly takes a bit of time to develop in terms of the show, she became one of my favorites, especially as her relationship with 12 grew more and more, especially in the last couple episodes of the show. It should be noted she is also part of Sphinx, but she's not like an original founding member. Now we move to my personal favorite character in the entire show, and that of Detective Shibazaki. He's an old detective that gets pulled into the Sphinx case as the terrorist group sets bombs off at a number of buildings within the Tokyo area. He's a deep and emotionally present character that doesn't just take things at face value. He's exceptionally smart, and I actually feel that he mirrors Death Note's L in a way. Though it should be noted he's not nearly as smart or as creative as L, rather he seems to be able to make connections in that same manner. He essentially carries the entire investigation throughout the show. We then move on to 5, who presents a villain type of character that resembles that of Near from Death Note. She works for the FBI, so the Americans do get involved with these Tokyo bombings. She's a cold, calculated person who keeps 9 and 12 guessing throughout the entirety of the show. While she does have a redeeming moment at the end, we later learn that it was essentially all for nothing. She's definitely more of a tragic character within this show, and she's definitely one of the more interesting characters that we get to meet. The show is absolutely amazing through and through. The mix of action sequences combined with the morality that we see from the Sphinx group, intertwined with the multiple police forces butting heads, really helps to keep the show fresh. It utilizes a formula, but it doesn't shy away from continuing to move the story into new and unexpected places. The show has some amazing underlying themes of hope, and it actually brings an interesting blend of mythology into it that really allows for the last episode to be one of the best that I've ever seen. I do understand that while short shows may not exactly be for everyone, if you have the time, I'd certainly recommend starting it, and once you do, I promise that you won't be able to put it down. If it's not apparent by now, this is definitely one of my favorite shows that I've seen, especially recently, and I think that it comes from the messages and themes that we see that are woven throughout the fabric of the plot. It's not just an action shoot 'em up, here are the bad guys, here are the good guys type of show. The lines for who's on whose side are constantly being blurred, and because of that, we see many of the characters operating in morally gray areas. It's certainly an interesting show that doesn't shy away on being critical on the government, and especially the US government. The inclusion of some amazing side characters also really helps to elevate the show beyond what it would be otherwise, and I was so surprised that they were able to do all of this in just 11 episodes. If you haven't seen Terror in Resonance, I'd absolutely recommend that you give it a watch for all the reasons that I've outlined in this video. And if you're unsure about it, just watch the first episode, and I guarantee you're gonna want to keep watching from there. It's one of those shows where you can't really figure out who to root for. Obviously, you don't want to be rooting for terrorists, but you know that they have a reason that they're doing these things, things and we see them operating in a way that they are making sure that people are not getting hurt, it's definitely an interesting sort of thought experiment for sure. Along with that, the underlying themes behind the background of 9 and 12 and 5 as well are really, really interesting, especially as we start to uncover more and more of their past and what happened to them as children at the hands of the Japanese government. It's definitely a very, very interesting show. Along with that, 9 and 12 in the Sphinx group have a trump card of sorts, which is definitely an interesting part of the show. And I will say that the ending episode is definitely one of the best that I've ever seen. I will say it will definitely leave you feeling numb. Like, you are not going to be like, this is not a happy ending type of show. You're not going to be like, oh my god, yay, this is so amazing. Like, I promise you, you guys are just going to feel numb after you watch it, but then you'll come back to it and you'll be like, oh my god, that was amazing. I'm just honestly really surprised with what they were able to do within 11 episodes. It was just absolutely amazing to watch this. I've seen 12 or 24 episode animes that do less than this show did. And I mean, every single episode, there's something crazy going on. It never ends, essentially. It's just constantly action, and we see so many different angles of different characters. I think that, again, the side cast is something that really makes this show exceptionally good and is one of the reasons why I liked it so much. It was just amazing getting to see all these different characters interact, getting to see these police forces interact, getting to see 9 and 12 interact and become different people as time went on, as they kind of realized what they were doing and stuff like that. It's just such a good show, and it shows an evolution in every single one of the characters over the course of only 11 episodes that I didn't think would be possible. But I mean, here I am making this video right now. So yeah, absolutely go and check it out. Definitely one of these shows to watch for me. Along with that, the animation style is absolutely phenomenal. It gives me like a kind of more modern Cowboy Bebop, like 90s stylized, like super harsh, dark lines with a little bit of grittiness on them. You know, the animation was really good. Everything about the show was amazing. The voice acting was really good as well. I watched it in dub. You don't have to. But yeah, once I heard about this show and once I started watching it, I was like, I have got to make a video on this. Absolutely amazing. There you guys have it. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Vinland Saga Season 2 will probably be coming out tomorrow. There we have it. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.